Lynn, what are you doing?
I am recasting, what was Philip Seymour Hoffman? Was he Cochrane?
Cochrane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to recast Cochrane. It's not Cochrane. Jesus, God, you're an infant.
Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your hostess, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely little co-host, Lynn.
If Joey Coyle has a $100 bill, you can rest assured it's his last one.
And joining us again, the podcaster with 1,000 potions, Mikki.
Kenny, who wants to be famous for being stupid?
That would be me in this podcast. I've made a career of it. And last but not least, the podcaster packing heat, Tony 2.0. Hello, Tony.
What do I want with my coffee? A slice of hope.
And that would be the new dog.
Yes.
That's actually Fenris and Amelia.
Oh, those would be the two old dogs, and the new dog is quietly sleeping on the couch like a good boy. That's a game-by-game color commentary of Mickey's house. Okay, sorry. This week, we will be discussing the 1993 comedy thriller, Money for Nothing, directed by Ramon Menendez, written by Mark Bowden Ramon Menendez, Tom Musca, starring John Cusack, Debbie Mazur, Benicio del Toro, Michael Rappaport, James Gandolfini, and Michael Madsen. As always, this podcast will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, then come back and listen to the podcast. Oh, that was good. We're off to a good start. Please, if you're listening on YouTube, take a minute to stop, like, subscribe, and share. And if you're listening on Apple, leave a comment. It helps the podcast grow. Okay, so guys, let's start with some opening thoughts on this one. I will get us started. So I have not seen this movie in a very long time, but I remember being blown away by the cast, especially Benicio del Toro. I've always been a huge John Cusack fan, so I figured it was time to revisit Money for Nothing. And the question is, has it held up after all these years? Let's find out. Mikki, have you seen the movie before preparing for the podcast?
I had not.
Why don't you expound on that just a shade there, Mick?
Red hot take. Hot take.
Would you?
She's on fire.
Well, I don't want to give too much away until we get into it.
Okay.
But no, I have not seen the movie.
Big John Cusack fan, though, correct?
Huge John Cusack fan.
Okay. And Tony, had you seen the movie before preparing for the podcast?
I had not. I had never even heard of it. And the first time I Googled it, of course, I got the song, not the movie.
Yes, of course.
But interesting.
And you're a big John Cusack fan, or take him, leave him?
I am as well. I was actually stunned by how many future stars were in this film, even in bit parts. Yes. They did a great job of casting. Unfortunately, I don't think the script kind of gave them the ability to show off their skill sets, but it is what it is.
Oh, I couldn't disagree with you anymore. Lynn, had you ever seen the movie before preparing for the podcast?
I had not.
Okay, and are you a big John Cusack fan? Just running around the table.
I like him, but I'm more of a Debbie Mazar fan, frankly.
Oh, yeah. Debbie's great.
Love her.
Okay. All right. Let's do some facts on this one. I just got a couple. I mean, as everybody knows by now, I'm sure, this movie was based on a true story, very loosely. And the movie's working original title was going to be just Joey Coyle, which I think would have been a huge mistake because no one knows who the fuck Joey Coyle is. So I'm glad they went with Money for Nothing. The movie's filming was predominantly shot in Pittsburgh and Lawrenceville, Pennsylvania, which I thought was interesting. Lynn, did you have any facts on Money for Nothing?
Yeah, so I looked into Joey Coyle because I wanted to know how much of this was reality and how much of it was made up. And, of course, finding the money is real. And, running the gamut of all these problems after finding the money was also real. But, he didn't have a girlfriend. There was no girlfriend. He was addicted to methamphetamine. Yep. Yeah, so he had some struggles and... he definitely was found guilty of stealing the money, but also then was found not guilty by reason of temporary insanity. But then he turned around and he tried to sue them later, like the Federal Reserve Bank or whatever, saying that it was their fault that he had insanity. And I think the judge threw it out. And he ended up committing suicide, which is really kind of sad. It was a tough life for this man, which is sad to hear.
Yeah. So stay away from the methamphetamine children.
Yeah.
Drugs are bad, kids. Drugs are bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Except for the edibles that I eat like toffee candy. Mikki, do you have any facts on this?
Just that I did a little bit of research too, and that he actually didn't when they put the car in the water, he actually didn't do that, but I guess they just drove to Jersey and abandoned the car. Mm-hmm. And that he did not live with his brother in real life, but he did fall through the ceiling when he was trying to hide the money.
I love it. That's good. Good facts. Tony,
Thanks.
You got anything on this one?
No.
Okay.
Moving right along.
I am going to bring back the Fast Five just for this week. It's just a stupid little one, but I think it'll be fun. So the Fast Five this week is going to be what's better? Very simple. What's better? So dipped in cold milk, what is better? A fresh, warm brownie or a warm, fresh baked chocolate chip cookie? Dylan, what's better?
Chocolate chip cookie.
Mikki?
The cookie.
And Tony?
Cookie Monster's right. It's the cookie. Don't too busy about it.
And the correct answer is a warm chocolate chip cookie. What's better in a cold milk?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Number
the
2.
jam.
What's better in a cold bowl of milk? Captain Crunch or Fruit Loops? Dylan, what's better?
Oh, I don't really like either of them anymore. They're too sugary for me. But if I had to pick one, like if it was a gun to the head situation, I'll go Fruit Loops.
And Mikki?
Oh, Captain Crunch all the way, but it has to be Captain Crunch with crunch berries.
and Tony, which one?
I'm going to have to agree with Lynn. I wasn't a fan of either, but I would go Fruit Loops if I had a gun to my head. So
yeah, I mean, these days I'm not eating a big bowl of any of these fucking sugary cereals. But when I was a child, it was Captain Crunch. So Captain Crunch with the berries. How dare they call them berries? Is the correct answer.
Tell everyone what your mother called it, though.
Oh, Captain Crap, of course. As she was purchasing it for me to eat. Number 3, a bowl of butter pecan ice cream or a bowl of chocolate ice cream. Dylan, what's tastier?
Dude, I'm not 70 years old. Of course it's chocolate. Butter pecan? What are you, fucking 80?
Mikki, which bowl of ice cream are you enjoying?
I'm going to completely echo what Dylan said.
And Tony, if you're sitting down to a nice bowl of ice cream, which one are you choosing?
Yeah, you can mark me down for the chocolate as well there, Grandpa. What the fuck?
And
You want to go rum raisin?
Yeah.
And
why don't you just go old fart? Jesus.
The correct answer is butter pecan.
Butter pecan. We should have known better. Yeah.
It's so buttery and delicious.
Why don't you just do the chocolate vanilla strawberry and cut it in a slice so you have a thing of each?
No, the butter
we call that spumoni in the Italian American community.
That's right.
Darling.
With a little claret sauce.
You get the texture from the pecans, the butter from the butter. It's just a lovely bowl of ice cream.
I think we need to rename this whole thing. It's not Fast Five. It's called Dez's Favorite Shit. That's what it's called.
Number 4, chocolate chip pancakes or blueberry pancakes. Dylan, what's tastier?
Chocolate chip pancakes.
Okay. And Mikki, which one is tastier?
Chocolate chip. But we did find a place down the street from us that has s'mores pancakes.
Oh, that sounds good.
So good.
And Tony.
I'm a blueberry head. I will eat blueberries all day, every day. So I've got to go blueberry just because that's the way I think.
Okay, so chocolate chips make it too sweet with the syrup. So the correct answer is blueberry pancakes.
Yes.
And last but not least, number 5. Would you rather sit down to a nice bowl of Kraft mac and cheese from the blue box or a big creamy bowl of Velveeta mac and cheese from the yellow box? Dylan, which is tastier?
I'm going to have to go Kraft.
Okay. And Mikki?
I'm going to pass and make my own.
No, you got to pick one of these.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my homemade is way better than both. But
I have to pick.
Yes, it is.
Kraft, I guess, if I have to pick one.
Tony.
Yeah, I don't want the caulk they use on the space shuttle in Velveeta or the shit they put in the blue box that's that powdered granular crap. So I got to go Kraft if I have to, but please, let's just make our own.
Okay, so the correct answer is Kraft mac and cheese because it's the cheese sauce that makes it taste so good and gives you cancer. Okay.
It's a cost to everything in life. What are you going to do?
There you go. Okay, let's do a quick box office on this. So this movie had a budget of $11 million and it grossed a whopping $1.4 million. So this was considered a train wreck of a film.
Well, it is.
As far as the studios were concerned. It made no money. Let's do a quick synopsis and then we will get into this movie. When unemployed, dock worker Joey Coyle finds $1.2 million that fell off an armored truck. He decides to do the logical thing. Take the money and hang around town and show everybody. It actually says take the money and run, but he just didn't do that. So there you go. Funny story. So when I was living in San Francisco back when I was a young metalhead, me and my buddy, at this point, we're literally eating like ketchup soup. Like we have no money. So we're out by our apartment and a truck goes through the intersection and a box falls off the back of this truck. It was just a pickup truck and the truck keeps going. So we run over, we pick up the box and this is 1988. It was a computer. And wow. And we had no way of returning it to anybody. So we sold it at a pawn shop for like enough money to buy like a steak and cheese sub. And it was funny because I actually called my uncle first. And he was living in San Francisco at the time. And I said, this computer fell off the back of a truck. He goes, so you stole it? I'm like, no, it really fell off the back of a truck. He's like,
sure it did.
He's like, yeah, he was like, yeah, sure it did. And he wanted no part of it. But yeah, we pawned it and never heard another thing about it and had a very nice lunch that day. Okay. Dylan, let's do it.
All right, let's get into it. Joey Coyle and his buddy Kenny Kozlowski are unable to secure work for the day, even though Joey's brother is the foreman. They take Kenny's father's car home and they split the tuna sandwich Joey's mom packed for him for lunch that is more celery than tuna. As they're driving home, an armored car is taking a shortcut through some bumpy back roads and they lose a box full of money headed to Atlantic City. Joey sees the box and asks Kenny to stop, and when he finds the money, he takes it. Kenny refuses to be involved and Joey decides to keep the money for himself. Upon returning home, Joey stashes a large portion of the money in his closet and tries to keep it a secret from his family despite the coverage on TV and everyone in the city talking about it. Meanwhile, back at the scene of the box drop, South Philadelphia Police Detective Pat Lorenzi is assigned to investigate. He discovers that the van's faulty latch is to blame for the money falling out of the vehicle. He also notices an empty gasoline can and some dead rats near the scene. It's so depressing, the beginning of this movie, because you know what it's like when you have no money and everything sucks and there's no food and you have to like say, okay, would you keep it, would you not? Like, I know Des wants to get into that conversation at some point during this, but initially my thought is you give it back and you get the reward and then nobody's ever up your ass later about it. You just get the money back and that's it. But I don't know.
Yeah, so I love the opening setup of this movie. It paints this Philly neighborhood as like the Great Depression almost, right? Mm-hmm. And the neighborhood has that kind of Boondock Saints or that Goodfellas feel to me. It really sets this up as a dramedy and not like a comedy, which I appreciated. This movie would not have worked if it had been like Grosse Pointe Blank or like a movie like that. This needed to feel like kind of like a mob detective movie, gritty, and it really was. And it surprised me because I really remembered this being a comedy and it really wasn't. This opening scene with Lorenzi and Herbeck, we get that Herbeck is a cocky prick and that Lorenzi is a more than capable detective. And I really enjoyed this. They play this out through the whole movie between these two, the give and take and,
back and forth.
Yeah. And it really works. And it builds up, Lorenzi is a really great detective by the end of this thing. I love the scenes with Detective Lorenzi putting the clues together. And I like the way they're categorized by day. So we know exactly how long this story is taking from beginning to end. I thought it was a really clever little plot device that they put in there. Mm-hmm. And finally, I love the question. Like you said, what would you do if you found the money? Most people asked in the movie say they would keep it, including Joey's mother, until she finds out that Joey is the one that found it, and it gets personal, and she immediately flips her opinion. And this brings me back to the scene with Kenny saying, let's give it back. We'll be big heroes. We'll get the reward. And in my opinion, Kenny had it right. I mean, is dorky and kind of like, mousy and clueless as he seems, he really had it right. And that's what they should have done. I mean, in my opinion, no amount of money is worth going to prison. It's just not. And I would give it back personally. With a caveat. I mean, you find that much money, you could take 50 grand off the top, bury it in the yard and give it back and be like, this is what we found, and over 50 grand, they probably wouldn't set up surveillance on you for 5 years. I mean,
is that your alternate ending?
No.
Okay, good. Because they're not going to do that. Okay. They're going to bury your ass for the 50 grand because let's be real. They know you did it. You said you did it. Now you're keeping some back and they're going to just sweat you, hit you with a phone book until you fucking tell them where it is.
All right. You give the whole thing back.
This is South Philly, bro. Yeah. You're either in for a penny, in for a pound.
All right.
If you give it back, you got to give it all and then pray to God they give you a little something for your effort. Other than that, you're fucked. Figure out a better plan and get the hell out of town. ASAP.
Okay. Then you bring up a good point there, Tony. Then how about this? If you find the money, you hold on to it because you'll remember they kept raising the reward from 10,000. It finally got to 50. So you hold on to it for a little while and then you say, we just found this.
Right. Or you tell them, you know what? Honestly, I didn't know quite what to do. I was confused. I'm a simple kid from South Philly.
Yes.
I made it through fucking high school only because the nuns like beating me. And I didn't know, and then when I heard 50K, hey, all of a sudden I got a memory and now I remember where I left it. Yep.
All right. Keep rolling with that, Tony. So what'd you think of these opening scenes?
I think unfortunately the movie didn't do enough for an $11 million film in the 1990s. I really thought they could develop it a little bit better. I mean, I like the general gist of the film where they're taking you down the street and it's bumpy and it's a very industrial area and they're going to a new highway. That's plausible. I like it. The idea that it would fall out of the back of the truck. Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll go with it. But it's more to the concept of, sure, there's always a good and bad. There's an angel and a devil on everybody's shoulder. And it's the kind of thing where, they portray that well in the car with Kenny and Joey Coyle saying, I absolutely am keeping this. My favorite part of the whole film is John Cusack's face when he opens the bag and sees the bundles of $100 bills and he's like, woo, he's screaming like a banshee because, to him, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to him his whole life. And he knows right then he's not giving a nickel back. The problem is that, Joe, he's only got one oar in the water and he's just paddling in a circle. So he's got no plan. And of course he does what everybody would do. He goes to the local gin mill and he starts throwing around $100 bills. And boy, nobody can keep a fucking secret. The only thing I do love about it is they did get the South Philly thing right. You know what I mean? I think of Rocky, right?
Yeah.
Rocky grew up in South Philly. It's a tight neighborhood. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody grew up with everybody. You know what I mean? And they know how to shut up, right? When the police come around, what do? They all run because they all know, fuck it, I ain't talking to you.
But Tony, you make a good point though. I mean, the movie looks great though. I mean, it has the flavor.
Yeah, I mean, for not filming it in the right place and doing the right things, I think, you could have done more, but it's the idea that I like the concept. I just don't think they breathed it out enough. They didn't give me enough to bite into. The scene, even in the backyard of Kenny's house, where this is well later in the movie, but he's getting beaten by the old man with a belt because he didn't tell the truth to the police. That's a beautiful thing because that's accountability. You know what I mean? Yeah. In those areas where it's not so, upper crusty, that's what you get. You know what I mean? You did wrong. You knew better. And Kenny tries to, divorce himself from this whole thing, but he can't, do it for only so long till he gets hemmed up. Yeah. And it's the classic, I hate to say it, but it's that classic story of, hey kid, you got nothing going for you. you got no plan here, and you just get run over, like you're stuck in the street. So sadly, that's kind of the way it develops. But I thought that Menendez could have done a lot more with the movie.
Mickey, what'd you think of the opening scenes? Did you like the flavor of this movie? Did it feel Boondock Saints to you?
It did. It did feel, like you said, it did feel gritty. It felt very authentic.
Yes.
That just kind of, that whole area, the kids with the rats, and which is sad. I was so excited to see Michael I love Michael Madsen.
Me too.
I was so excited to see him in this.
Mr. White, right?
Yeah, I just love him. I just love him so much.
Thankfully, he wasn't quite as vindictive in this role.
Yeah,
right.
I feel like they could have done more. I wish they had spent a little more time kind of building or showing you Joey's life, Joey and Kenny, because I didn't really give a shit that he was an idiot. You know what I mean? Because it was just, it was so quick. Like within 10 minutes in the movie, they found the money. Excuse me. I fucking love Michael Rappaport as well. I love him in this role because he plays a really good kind of like anxious spaz. Do you know what I mean? Like,
great.
Yeah. But I just wish they had spent a little more time in the beginning, maybe developing, maybe just showing you a little more about their lives and why. Yeah, it sucks that they're not working and his brother didn't give him the work. Also, when he goes into the bar after I agree with Tony when he's in the car and he's like, "Wow!" Like I feel like that's what I would do if I found $1.2 million in a bag.
Well, even his brother, as militant as he is, when he sees the money fall out of the ceiling, even he can't keep the smile off his face for a minute until he comes to his senses.
But I loved the scene when, Kenny's like, we have to give it back. We have to give back $10,000. But I remember thinking $10,000 for 1.2 million. I don't know. I would wait a little bit until they up the reward.
Yeah.
But then when he's in the bar and like, you said, you can't keep a secret and he's throwing away $100 bills to the homeless people outside. And then he sits in the bar and he's just like, you can see it. He's like, it's like he's, amped up on caffeine and he's like, he wants to tell everybody, but he can't. So he just wants to be the guy that everybody loves and that because everybody thinks he's a fucking loser because he never has any money. And now he's going to buy everybody a drink. And you could just see it. Like he wants to tell people like, I have all this fucking money now, but he can't. And I wish they had gone a little bit more into the relationship with what's her name, because
Monica.
Yeah. Because they didn't really go into too many of the relationships. Like, why is his brother such a prick to him? Do you know what I mean? Like, why is his brother not give him the work? Why does his brother brush him off and give somebody else the work? Like, so I just wish they had done a little more with that.
I feel like the characters in a very short time in the beginning of this movie were all set up perfectly. I think I understand everything that's going on. The brother is one of these guys that's like, blue collar. He's the foreman. He's going to give work out to people with family and children. And he's a stand-up guy and he's not going to be ever, looked at like this guy that's giving preferential treatment to, his family and to someone that quite honestly doesn't need to work as much as somebody else. He knows Joey's getting fed at home. He knows mommy's buying him cigarettes. It's not a priority. If there's work, he gets it. If not, Joe, family man, is getting the work. I thought it set him up as a stand-up guy. And I also really understood the dynamic between Joey and Kenny. I thought that they did a pretty good job of letting us know who these guys were and what they do on a daily basis. And then finally, I thought that there was plenty between the girlfriend, Monica, and Joey. I mean, she explains basically what's going on in 2 minutes at the bar. I get it all. I thought it was great. And I thought that the actors that played these characters just, were so good. It didn't leave me wanting any more from any of them. Just my opinion, though.
I was expecting, honestly, why not John Travolta didn't play that role?
Oh, shit, Jackie!
Frank Stallone.
Found $1 million, Jackie! Dylan, keep it going.
Where's your cup, by the way?
Yeah, where's your
cup?
cup?
For sure you'd have your cup.
I had my cup on the last one. It wasn't clean, but I used it on the last podcast. I used it on the the violent vinyl one too, and I was holding it up, and those guys were laughing.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. So Joey meets with his former girlfriend, Monica Russo, who works at an investment firm, and asks how he can make a large deposit without attracting the IRS. Monica initially scoffs at the notion that he would have a large sum of cash laying around, but ultimately deduces that he has found the money that was reported missing. When he gives a group of homeless men $100 bills and they make a big fuss, he realizes he needs to find a way to get rid of all these hundreds and break it down into smaller denominations. Back at the neighborhood bar, he buys drinks for everyone and claims he won on a pony, betting through local bookie Dino Palladino. Dino knows Joey didn't win on a pony and wants to know what he's doing. He enlists Dino to help him launder the money. Dino takes him to Vicente Goldoni, and although he's unable to comprehend how the laundering scheme works, Joey agrees to the terms proposed by Goldoni. Joey's a fucking moron. I mean, he's a fucking moron. He's giving out $100 bills. He's doing it left and right. He's not even thinking about it. He goes into the neighborhood bar. He's flashing money. He had $400. He brings Dino Palladino in, who famously, he says, does not pay off on his bets. So this is a dude that normally doesn't pay off when you bet with him and you win. And he thinks that this is the dude to ask for help. Bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. In this movie, he's not a drug addict, so I don't understand them. In reality, he was a drug addict, and I can see why he's so dumb. But I just was dumbfounded by this. Like, behavior was, dude, everybody in the entire city is talking about this, and you're going to go out there and start flashing all this money. It was so dumb.
Yeah, so I know people have a problem like what you're saying with this movie and with the decisions being made, but they're missing the whole point of this movie. The director never says he's going to get away with it. The very first scene is a kid watching him pick the money up. I know immediately he's going to get caught. There's no way he's getting away with it. He's going to get caught. Like Tony said, small town, everybody knows everybody. The kid knows exactly who Joe Coyle is. He's seen the car. He's going to get caught, right? So I know people have a problem with Joey giving out $100 bills to the bums in the subway, but for me, this is on brand with the character. I know guys like this. This is a stupid townie. He has never had, like his girlfriend says, if he's got $100, it's his last $100. He is a fish out of water. He doesn't know what the fuck he would do. And for me, the director isn't making me ask myself, will Joey get caught? He's making me say, when will Joey get caught?
Good point.
And how, and all the bad decisions he's making. It's the charm of the movie when he goes into the bar and he's waving down Dino and he's making up this story and the money just fell off the truck. It's like, I'm yelling, why are you doing that? And it's giving me this like fun anxiety and I'm on for the ride and I'm loving it. And this scene in the bar, this is where the movie takes off. We meet Dino Palladino, one of the best characters ever. I love this character and he reminds me of a very, very close friend that I had. We're not really friendly anymore. I haven't seen this guy in a while, but he was Dino Palladino. I love this guy, right? We also get to meet Cochran, played by, what's his name?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman. I fucking loved, first of all, I love Philip Seymour Hoffman, period. The guy is fucking amazing. And I love him in this role. He is Joey's antagonist in this movie because there really isn't an antagonist, but if there was one, I would say that it's him because he's riding him through the whole thing. And he really, I mean, tell me this character didn't make you feel uncomfortable. You're like, he's on to him. He's not buying Dino's bullshit story about the ponies. Again, if a mook like Cochran already is on to Joey, I'm telling myself it's only a matter of time before Lorenzi catches him. I mean, this dipshit already knows he's got the money. 2 minutes. We are watching Joey make bad decisions and slowly come unglued as the movie goes on. And I thought that Cusack really played this well. By the end of the movie, he is completely on tilt, and I am fucking loving it. Tony, what'd you think?
I'm going to just counterpoint you there. I think, unfortunately, if Joey was truly depicted as the guy he was, a guy who's got experience with drugs, who grew up in South Philly, he's got more fucking street smarts in his little finger than John Cusack's character has in this movie. Okay? Because one thing he doesn't know is education. What he does know is how to hustle. right? Go ahead.
But that's not the character we get. We don't get the
real
Joey
Coyle.
No.
I'm with you. My other difference is this. My other difference is this. Dino is his friend from, I don't know, fifth
Catholic
grade,
school.
whatever. Yeah, whatever it is, right? Catholic school. If your friend is a schmuck who doesn't pay off on his bets, in South Philly, you get dragged in the back of the bar. They beat the shit out of you and leave you for dead because you can't have a code like that in a town of that nature and survive. You have to be a stand-up guy or you're going to get your fucking head handed to you. So again, I take exception to that. And granted, Dino, obviously not exactly the most reputable character, brings him to this other schmaltz who's, his explanation is wonderfully myriadly confusing, and Cusack, because I assume it's supposed to be comedy, but he explains it 3 different ways. So it's the same kind of derivation, but it's just well above Joey's capabilities to understand what he's going to get versus what he's giving. And it sort of fails for me because of the idea that it should be simple, but instead of making it easier to understand, they explain it in a more complicated fashion. So I guess that's the humor. But I really thought, unfortunately, that it was a great film in the cast to see great actors. They just didn't get enough screen time to build the characters. James Gandolfini, young, strong, yeah, kind of just an asshole. You know what I mean? He could have done a lot more, or they could have put him in the film a little differently, and had a heart-to-heart with his brother and said, hey, look, clean up your act and I'll give you the work, or whatever he's got to do. Or explain the concept that you gave, which I like, in the idea of, hey, look, there's guys here who are feeding a family. They get preferential treatment. Or, hey, that union rules say you got to have seniority to get the work. I can't give you, you're a low man on the pole, and because you're my brother, you want work. That's never going to wash, or whatever. Just explain it, because of the idea that
he did explain.
Well, he did somewhat. He kind of beats around the bush. He never gets to the heart of the matter.
He says, fucking Danny O'Doyle has 5 kids and a wife at home. I can't give you work ahead of him.
Okay. The other difference too is that that this is a cruel fucking world on the docks of South Philly. He absolutely fucking could, and he probably did in the real world, because nothing personal, but shit ain't fair. He's the only guy who apparently is running it that way, and props for him. Benicio del Toro is not the same actor that you see now, because he's like a child in this movie. Yeah. He's like 25 or 6 or whatever, which is cool. It makes me feel old, but it's awesome. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, I think, unfortunately, they just, they wrote him in. But the best scene is actually when he's confronted at the payphone, calling the cops. And the other guy says, what the fuck are you doing? You're not doing that. Almost to the point of, hey, we have a code here and you're fucking breaking it. That was, to me, the best scene. I don't even know who that guy was. But I liked him better than the antagonist there, Cochran, because of the fact that, somebody's got to be a bad guy. And this is the one bad guy in the film. Other than maybe Joey, who unfortunately is his own worst enemy, and he makes all these bumbly, shitty mistakes. But
I recognized the character of Dino Palladino from another movie, though.
Did you?
Usual Suspects.
I know. I think he's got so much more complexity as Finster. You know what I mean?
He does. No, he
you
know
what I'm saying? Just because there, everyone is seasoned. Here, he's almost just like he's an excuse. I'm an introduction guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I come in my, what did he have? The leather trench with the shoulder pads. I mean,
love it. And the
holy
purple.
fuck, the 80s called, and they want that jacket back, baby. Yeah. The members only purple starter jacket.
Oh, it's so good.
With the big chain and Jesus.
Oh, what was
anyway,
it? Round ball? No, it's the ponies.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
So, could have done a lot more. I think the worst part too is the movie doesn't feel rushed. So why would you possibly not build characters that we can enjoy as an audience? Because let's be real, the premise of the film, if we go with the idea that it's this battle between keep the money, give the money back, right? You're kind of going back and forth with that. Give me some sidebars to make it interesting for me. Build some characters. Let me see what's in Joey's life and, some of the bad and the good, right? I love the conversations with his mom, who's awesome in this movie, because she is archetype Irish Catholic.
I love that actress.
She's great.
Oh yeah, she's a wonderful actress, and she fills a small part, but she plays it to the hilt. And it's the kind
she
of thing
takes
where
out that little change purse and
it's so
opens it up.
she gives him $1 to go to the movies.
Go to movies with Monica.
And when she tells him,
cute.
when
Like
she tells
he's 5, you know?
Joey, lick your fingers. It's
Yeah.
gonna be your lucky day. I loved it. Little leprechaun. Mickey, what'd you think of these scenes?
Like I love that actress. I think she was awesome in The Others with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, I
She
don't
was
think I ever
like,
saw that.
oh, it was really good. And Benicio del Toro, I just feel like he's one of those actors. I feel like he could say 2 words and just those like the best 2 words of you know what I mean. He like oozes talent, and he doesn't even have to do anything. Philip Seymour Hoffman passed away, correct?
He did, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sadly.
His character, I feel like I know that character. Like I've known guys just like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely.
Yeah.
so I love
I think
the
we
other
all
guy
do.
when the other guy's like, you can't do that. You can't fuck your friend over. And the guy, and you know, he's all about himself. He's in it for himself. So I love that they kind of had that code, and like the whole bar was like, yeah, we got you. We got you.
Well, you know the best part, Mick, not to interrupt you, but they're not friends. No 2 ways about it.
Right.
But
Right.
they grew up South
That's
Philly.
clear.
Right? That's a fraternity, if you will, that they're both members of. And this guy is simply not going to allow him to break that.
Yeah. And Tony, the first time we meet the character, he's literally almost calling Joey Coyle out at the bar. He's like, you owe me $10.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like, he almost feels like he wants to fight him.
Right. And then the best part is he throws the money, it hits the other guy, and then they're like best friends again. Hey, okay, great. I got my money. And he's like, buy him a drink, get him this, get him that.
And Des nailed it earlier, like towny. Like I feel like I could see this guy in, you know, Southie. I could see him in Philly. I could see, you know what I mean?
Sure. Pick a city in the Northeast USA. My favorite too is you got to love the guy. He's dumb as a post. He goes to the hometown bar. I mean, if you want to get schnockered and be a big man and throw some money around, go to some gin mill where nobody knows you. Now you're the enticing stranger who's got a shitload of money, and you could be a hero 8 blocks or 10 blocks from where you grew up. They go to the bar where every single person in that place knows him. You know what I mean?
His father used to sit on the same bar stool.
Right.
So that's goes to show you how neighborhood that bar is.
Sure. And over generations, I'm sure too.
Yes.
Did we get to the point where they meet Vincent yet? You read that off, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Vincente.
so we meet Vincent, and we know instantly Joey is out of his element during this meeting, which I thought was great. We already know he's going to get screwed in the deal, right? Like, do you ever think for 1 second he's really going to go in and get his $400,000? No. It isn't if he's going to get screwed again.
Right.
It's how he's going to get screwed. And this is echoed by Monica when she discovers Joey's already given half the money to fucking Vincent and Dino Palladino. And she's like, you fucking idiot, after this super uncomfortable, weird sex scene.
Yes.
She says, quote, they would slit your throat for $5. I'm not waiting around here till Dino and his boys come around looking for you. And this statement raises the stakes. And this is one of the things I love about this movie, how dark it can be. Will Joey die now is the question. Has he turned to the wrong people? Like Tony was saying, this is South Philly. People get whacked for less than $1 million. This kid has walked into the fucking mob's office and said, I have $1 million. Nobody knows about it. They're like, really? Does anybody know you're here? You know what I mean? It's like, and
if
that's
you disappeared, what would happen? Right.
Exactly. And it's not a comedy. It's not a drama. It's
a tragic comedy.
It is.
In the Greek kind of concept, right?
Yeah. It's like a comedy of errors.
Yes. And for me, it's a hybrid film, and it's really interesting. And I don't think I've ever seen another movie quite like it. So yeah, I mean,
that's because they never made a movie quite like it because they lost $9 million on this movie.
It was actually 10.
Oh, well, I was giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, which is 9 times more than Joey Coyle didn't get away with. Delaney, keep going.
All right. So Lorenzi finds a homeless boy who reveals what he saw. He saw someone take the money and identifies the make and model of the car belonging to Kenny's father. At the bar, some of the patrons question how Joey got the money, and their suspicions are heightened when Lorenzi walks in and starts asking questions. Worried that the detective will discover the car Kenny was driving, Joey drives the vehicle into a river. Joey attempts to hide the money in several places around the house, and when he falls through the attic ceiling, he's found out by his family. The family refuses to take the money since it's not rightfully theirs. After hiding the money on Monica's desk at work, Joey goes to Goldhoney's office with a gun and forces Dino to give him back his first batch of cash. He's furious when he discovers that Goldhoney has changed the money into nickels and quarters.
I love it.
After recovering the car from the river, Lorenzi confronts Kenny while Kenny's father beats him with a belt. And Kenny confirms that Joey's the one that found the money. And I love that at this point, the neighborhood grapevine begins. The woman is standing in the backyard watching him get beat and questioned by the police. And he's like, Joey Coyle has it. And the woman goes, hey, Joey Coyle found the money. And you can hear it going through the neighborhood. Like, it's a matter of minutes before everyone in like a 3-block radius knows who has that money.
Right. You know how we communicated before the internet. Right.
Yeah. Screaming at each other across the street.
Yeah.
We've all been in that neighborhood.
So this is the first time a character acts a little out of character for me. When Joey puts the money in Monica's desk, the other half of the money, she's done with this guy and she's smart. All she has to do now, she could get away with this. She could call the police and be like, listen, I know who found the money. He came to my work. I'm here now. He put it in my desk. She would get the 50 grand for the reward. She could take 50 grand off the top and be like, this is what he put in my desk. I turned it in. I don't know where the other 50 grand went. They would not question it for a second. He'd be on the hook for the 50 grand, not her. The scene where Kenny is being beaten by his father. So, Lynn, you laughed when you were talking about it because it's meant to be funny, but it's brutal. And it really paints this picture of Kenny being an abused child. Do you think that's the first time his dad's gone at him with a belt? No way. So that's why this kid is the way he is. And that's why I was saying earlier where they're like, well, they don't flush these characters out enough. But they do, and he does it in this really interesting way. Like, I understand immediately why this character is the way he is, why he's so honest, why he's so scared, why he's so mousy. Because his dad is beating the life out of him for fucking 21 years. You know, again, this is a dark crime story wrapped in a comedy, but it's not very funny. And that's the charm for me. And the scene with Cochran calling bullshit on there being a pony called Dumb Luck, I love this. And then he starts blackmailing Joey right before Lorenzi enters the bar and starts asking questions, right? Cochran and everybody else stonewalls Lorenzi. And this is what Lorenzi is expecting. I mean, he's from South Philly. He knows how these neighborhoods are. He knows nobody wants the rat. No one wants to be the rat. That's not how you operate in, these small towns. But again, Joey makes the mistake. He starts talking to Lorenzi. Oh, give me a business card. I'd love to help you out. He might as well just say I have the money in my fucking attic at home, right? He's telling him I'm your guy. Coyle, he's been one step behind everybody since he found the money. Can't get out of his own way. And it's nerve-wracking to watch, and that's what I love about it. And finally, the scene where Cusack holds Vincent and Dino at gunpoint. This, in my opinion, is, again, meant to be comical. But like with all the comedy in the movie, it's laced with a dark element, and I think it's brilliant.
I'll concur. I like Lorenzi as a character. He's quiet, but he sees, even to the point early on, he listens to the two drivers from the armored car, and then he listens to the guy who owns the company, and he says, yeah, I'll figure this out. And the guy is mocking him, but you can see him. He's piecing it together in the first 7 minutes. Plus, it's the idea that, you do get a little glimpse of his ties, where he says, hey, I knew your old man. My father used to sell him meat. He had a grocery, blah, 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 blah. And they were making, like a quick joke about, yeah, you had the best feel in town, and all of a sudden but don't think that's going to stop me from doing my job.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the cops. I'm here to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. It's a matter of time, do right or you're going to fucking pay the bill. So it's a hard kind of, way to go. The difference is that, how do we say this? Joey is circling the fucking drain and he's not going to help himself. even the scatterbrained plan they put together with Monica, the hyper intelligent girlfriend, who I think in the mind of herself, she sees the idea that even if she puts in 30 years at the bank or the what do they call it, investment firm, she's going to wind up 10 feet from where she started. You know what I mean? She's not a boys club member. You know what I mean? She's got one shot at kind of living the life she wants to live. And if it revolves around $1.3 million and Charlie or Joey Coyle, then so be it. Let's do it. Right. This is my shot. I'm taking it. That's what Joey does. Right. Where am I going? I'm 26. I live in my parents' house where I grew up. What do I got future wise? So like you said, it's dark, and it is because it's a reality check, but it's the kind of thing where, I think that's a generational gap. He talks about his dad working to the point where his hands were so raw, he couldn't make a fist. But, his father probably found some, joy in that. When you're the head of the household, that's what you do to put food on the table. I'll gladly go back to see better things happen to my kids, or whatever the kind of concept you want to apply would be. So it's rough. And even to the Kenny situation, I think it's more to the concept that the father was angry that although Kenny really didn't do anything wrong, he had to tell him a story, right? The car's in the fucking Delaware River. He had to give him some bullshit. Instead of coming clean, that's Kenny's only sin, is that he doesn't partake in the problem, but he doesn't help himself out enough to say, whoa, time out. I got to get out of this. So I got to come and be clean. He wants to help his friend, but he's in a paradox too, because he doesn't know how to do it, how to implement it properly. So, it's a shit show in every direction in this movie. That's the tough part to watch it, that every character here is kind of spinning in a circle and they're a fucking wreck.
Kenny's dad's been beating him up just to relax after work.
That may well be. It's also the idea that, you love the imagery because there's a picture of the Virgin Mary with the bathtub in the back and the light. And, I'm so God-fearing. I enjoy getting my belt off so I can beat the kid. But weirdly, too, you got to love the Pennsylvania concept. Everybody in this movie that's sleeping is in a union suit. It's weird because it's wintertime. And that just kind of made me think about old days and where I grew up. But that's neither here nor there.
Tony, you did say something though. You were talking about, the ties and the father being, my dad sold ties to your dad and, the father worked his fingers. So they didn't front load this story with character development, but they did trickle it in throughout the movie and painted quite a picture.
Yeah, they sprinkle it. My thing is I'd like to see more of the guys actually in the movie, not the people they allude to, but develop this great cast. You know what I mean? Yeah. I would have liked to see more Gandolfini, more Philip Seymour Hoffman, even more Benicio del Toro, as big as shit as he is in the film. You know what I mean? And as much as I like Cusack, he's a lost ship. He's a boat with no rudder, just fucking meandering through because he's just got no plan. You know what I mean? The boy needs help. So it is what it is.
The director had an all-star lineup, but it's almost like he lucked into it. He didn't know who these people were and what they would become. I mean, James Gandolfini at the time, he was nobody.
This is 93.
Yeah, you couldn't know. You couldn't know that you had this all-star lineup, and he didn't utilize it.
I wish there was more Michael Madsen in the movie. I don't think he was.
Just from her personal opinion.
No, I do too. It's a detective story. It's a detective story. Give me more detective.
Yeah. And Kenny's dad beating him. I just feel like we all knew that one kid that had the
definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or were that one kid. And
I wish my parents cared about me that much.
Right?
God.
As we're sitting here talking about it, I don't want to give away my final thoughts on the movie or what my score is going to be or what I thought of it. But as we're sitting here talking about it, and kind of going through it again, I'm realizing that, Des, you are correct. I think it was filmed really well, gritty, towny. And maybe that's because I've been there. I know what that is
Looks like.
Do you know what I mean? So in a way, it's I want to say nostalgic, but I don't think that's the right. I don't know what the word is.
Familiar.
But I think it was shot really well. I don't think with all these scenes, like I don't think it knew what it wanted to be. Like it kind of wanted to be a comedy, but maybe I want it to be like a dark drama, but also kind of a thriller. So I don't really know, but I do know that I think every person in this film gave what they could.
Oh, I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
I said to Des at one point, I said, my problems with this movie are not with the actors, because the actors are working their faces off. They're really they're acting each other in circles,
making the best of a bad script.
Yeah, and to me, it was more of the script that was the weak point. I think that there are some things that they didn't develop and they should have, and other things that they didn't even touch on, and then things that probably didn't need to be done they spent time on. So it's like, maybe to a certain degree, it suffered from having so many actors, because when you get so many actors, shut up. Let me finish. When you get so many actors, you come to a place where you don't have enough time to focus on a certain person.
Right. And you can't build everybody into the script. Yeah,
exactly. So maybe to a certain degree, it suffers from that as well. That was just kind of what we were discussing.
But, with this movie, what I remembered, and I already said this earlier, what I remembered this movie being was 8 heads in a duffel bag. Gross Point Blank. Like, that's what I was gearing up to watch. Like, these movies that don't really look like they're set in the real world, they're just fun. It's an hour and a half of just kind of fun. This movie felt like a documentary. It felt like Boondock Saints. It had that familiar, like I could smell the tobacco in the beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just remember when we did Urban Cowboy, you're like, this is not what I remember.
Tony, what movie? I think, didn't we do a movie where it was like a cop versus a bad guy? Oh, it was Heat. Don't get it wrong. If I have to take you down, I will take you down.
Right. And without a second thought. Right.
Yeah.
The tough part is this is the antithesis of Heat. Heat is Michael Mann, LA, slick, professional. Yeah. This is the antithesis of that. It's gritty and nasty and shitty and dirty, and you got stuff in your mouth and you're bleeding, and you're from South Philly, and you got 6 fucking free brain cells in your head. So
some of the same notes though. My dad sold your dad ties, but if I have to, don't get it twisted. I will fucking take you down.
Right, and even the airport scene where they wind up arresting him is a travesty. But it's the idea that that's how close you get. Right, it's you snatch defeat from the jaws of victory again. You're right there. You're about to board the plane. Nah. Come here. Where you going with
Joey
me?
Coyle? I'm Frankie Santos. I don't think that's gonna fly.
Exactly. And the best part is he's doesn't even sound like he's trying to convince anyone. He's just mouthing the words because that's what he does. You know what I mean? Poor Joey. That's all you think about. You know he's not going to make it. He even knows he's not going to make it. You know what I mean?
From the first scene, when the fucking money falls off the truck, I haven't even seen Joey Coyle yet, and I go, he's not going to get away with that.
Well, and the worst part to him, I don't think he ever thought he was going to get away with it either. It was more the idea that he just has to try.
He just has to do it.
I got to try it. Because I don't see any other, winning tickets coming my fucking way. This is it, baby.
Now, Tony, at our age, it's very easy to say, I would give it back, right? But bring yourself back to being 21 years old.
No, fuck no. I ain't giving him a nickel. That's
when you're 21 years old.
Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Everybody knows that one.
When I was living in Charlestown at the music complex with no money or food, and if somebody $1 million dropped off a fucking armored car,
gone, baby. Yeah. I'm done.
I'm on my way to Canada. I'm on my way to Canada. I'm on my way to the local bar.
Nothing personal, but I didn't grow up in the grittiest part of town. But you swear your friend to secrecy, and then you go, bro, you're never going to see me again because I'm out. It. You can't hang around. You can't stick there. You got to pack your shit and get the fuck out immediately. Ma, I'll be back. I'm going to the corner for cigarettes, and you come back 23 years later. When you're successful somewhere else, and I don't know, LA, the Caribbean, Europe, for all I care. But that's the thing. Poor Joey, he ain't got no plan. he's got no future, and he's spinning in a circle because he's a shit show.
Joey returns to the bar because that's such a great idea. Perfect. And watches the news report.
When you're desperate.
I know, right? And watches the news report identifying him as the thief. The other patrons label him a hero and vow to protect his identity, much to Billy's frustration. Dino attempts to shoot and jill Joey in the restroom, but is subdued by Billy, who then urges his brother to leave town. Monica arrives with the remainder of the money and airline tickets. They spend a night at the hotel where Monica bleaches Joey's hair and counts the cash obsessively. At the bar, Lorenzi interrogates Dino, who, to avoid being implicated, arranges to have the money that Joey tried to launder returned without question. Lorenzi sits in the car and a van drops off a garbage bag to him containing half the money. So I love the scene in the bar where they identify him, Joseph Coyle, and everyone in the bar turns and looks at him at the same time. Like I liked that. And also, when the guy from the bank comes to get the money from Lorenzi, and he's opening his friggin' shade, and he's like, "Where's the money? Where's my money?" I'm surprised Lorenzi doesn't drop kick this guy out the door. Like, this guy is a fucking turd. He is a turd.
Yeah, he's a freaking prick.
And I get it that Lorenzi's a cop and he's a quote unquote the good guy, so he's not going to do that. But holy shit, like, there's a line that, like, dude, knock it off. This guy's helping you out. He got you back $600,000 of your money, and he's going to get the rest. Knock it off.
Well, and the best part, it's technically not even the guy's money because he's just
it's the company.
Right. Well, and even the company just runs the armored cars. It's not their money whatsoever. He's going to have to turn it back over to either the Federal Reserve or the bank or whoever issued the money.
Casino.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to lose his contract, though.
Yeah, that's really what it is. He's so fucking arrogant that it's more about me and my future versus you and your,
Yeah, he's greedy. He's skimming off the top. He's not fixing the fucking equipment. He's firing guys. He's a scumbag.
I mean, but also, you also have to understand that this is what insurance is made for. You lose that kind of money, you have insurance to recoup the loss. Like, this is why when somebody steals your credit card information and fucking racks up $20,000 worth of debt, they don't even chase them.
But
they just give you the money back. And they go, well, we just write it off on our insurance. So, like, I don't know if that was the case in 93, but, and I know it's $1.5 million almost, but still.
Here's the problem, though. So the investigation's already taken place. They've now uncovered that the guy that rides with the money has been taken off the detail and the truck is broken. Yeah. So the fucking insurance companies, he'd be like, guy, we insure money that's properly transported. You're a fuckface. So this bathroom scene we get between Dino and Joey when Dino comes in to whack him because Joey's the only one now that can, implicate Dino and the boss. Yeah, so he's been sent there to whack Joey. This is fucking so dark, dude. This is not 8 Heads in a Snuffle Bag. This is a fucking crime movie. It's a mob crime movie. It's fucking awesome. Dino is ready to fucking kill him. And then the brother comes in. We hear the crack of the baseball bat. And I'm actually surprised at how much emotion I felt between Joey and his older brother when he's finally there for him. You get the feeling throughout the entire movie that Joey questions whether his brother really loves him, whether his brother's really got his back. And in when it really counted, he fucking did. He knew his brother was in trouble. He had heard on the news Joey found the money. So where does he go? He goes to the bar because where does he know Joey's going to be? At the bar because he's a fucking knucklehead. And he saves his ass. And I got the feels in this. I thought it was really great. It's just so different than what I thought. The interrogation between Lorenzi and Dino Palladino, it's so good. And again, it reminded me so much of fucking Usual Suspects when they're fucking trying to interrogate him in that movie. Very similar. I really, really loved that Vincent was able to launder his dirty money for clean money. This character for me, so slick. Always one step ahead of everybody. This guy, Vincent. He is the real deal. He collects Rolls Royces, and there's a reason why. He's incredible. And then finally, they wrap this movie up very quickly, right? And again, Joey making more bad decisions. He dyes his hair bright orange, like he wants to attract as much attention to himself as possible when he gets to the airport. And let's talk about that. If you're trying to get away, taking a plane is so obvious out of your hometown. It's not the way to escape. And if you are going to do it, why not just put the money in a suitcase and check it? No, going to try and carry it on. Doesn't make sense. Why not just drive out of town or you have fucking $1 million. Take a cab, right? Take the cab to the next closest city, 2 cities away, and then fucking get on a bus there. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but this is exactly what this dipshit would do. And my only gripe is I think Monica would be smart enough to come up with a better escape plan than this. I think she would have thought of like, hey, let's call a cab. We'll go to Boston and we'll make our escape from Boston. They won't be looking for us there. No cab driver is going to say no. You want to fucking make $5,000 right now? We need to get to Boston. Yeah, get in. You know, you never saw us. Who? Perfect. Tony.
No, I agree. Everything is botched in this film. You know, Dino can't shoot Joey. I mean, what is he? He's at the door at 6 feet. He shoots 3-4 times, misses him. I mean, you know, this whole film is a fucking collection of screw ups. So, you know, the classic. I didn't quite get the feels with the James Gandolfini and Cusack moment. I think it was more loyalty, family, you know, which there's nothing wrong with. I mean, shit, you would expect him to be so much as the guy who's got your back. I mean, he's your older brother. That's what brothers are all about. Yeah, I'm good with it. But I think the tough part is that Monica is not a superstar. You know, she's somewhat portrayed as a together person, but let's be real. She's Southie or South
totally.
Philly. So, you know, she's a pretender. She didn't go to fucking Wharton, you know, at UPenn. She's just a secretary who done good. You know, she obviously knows how to play the game, but that doesn't mean she's cunning. She's not a criminal mastermind.
No,
you know, I was
but
impressed.
She's not as dumb as Joey.
No. She's a little more polished. She, you know, and she can take a cue, right? That's the key. Joey knows good from bad. He just doesn't choose well. That's his fucking problem. He always takes the easy road because, you know, he's a slack. That's what that is. I mean, it happens to the best of us. I mean, we all knew the right road at some point in life, and we took the easy way out because it's fucking easy, right? We get lazy or we don't make good judgment. That's what mistakes are all about in life. The key is you don't make them over and over and over again. You figure it out and you get smarter and you go, shit, better not do that again. That stuff sucks.
Right.
So Joey doesn't get that far. My thing too is of course, like you said, he dyes his hair. He doesn't really have a choice because the guy on the passport she brings him looks like a total mook with this
fucking Eminem.
The shock of fucking platinum blonde hair. It's like, really? This guy is your cousin?
He's fucking Slim Shady.
Yeah, right. Philly. Except he's like a 300-pound version of Slim Shady. So he's a fucking mook. I mean, you know, and this poor guy's got to try to look like him, you know. And it's just, it's another stick in the eye. You know what I mean? That's what this movie is. It's a blunder after blunder after blunder. And like you said, you know, if they had flown to Denver and then gone to Mexico or whatever, they would have been fine because they only searched the international terminal. And I made a joke to Mikki. I said, wow, the Philly airport only has 5 flights leaving internationally for the whole day.
Yeah, the world got very small for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Because they only have 3 cops doing the searching. I mean, you know.
Tony, I want to just address what you said about Dino taking the shot in the bathroom, right? Mm-hmm. So Dino's presumably known Joey since they were little kids, right?
Right.
And Dino's a make-believe gangster. He's not a real gangster. He's a hang-around. He's never whacked anybody. He doesn't want to whack Joey. He's been told to go there and do this. He's going in half-hearted. He's probably nervous as fuck. And yeah, I mean, I don't expect that he really went in there prepared to kill Joey Coyle.
My thing is this, is if you want to be a pretender, you're more dangerous. You know, how do we say it correctly? If you're a made guy in the mob, you don't do the grunt work. You know what I mean? If you're a hang around and you want to stick around, you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
And you can't fuck it up because when you go back and you tell the boss, I didn't kill him.
I missed.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Now I got 2 bullets for you in the back of your head because now you can connect me to a murder. So you put me in a bad position. Yep. Maybe we got to do something with you. So, I think it's more to the idea that this film never gets to point B and C and D. It's just the prima facie of what we see is what we get. But it's to the idea that I think that the whole point of the film is this sad, moronic comedy of fuck-ups that is consistent throughout the film. If there's a choice to be made, we pick the wrong one. If there's a thing to be done, we take the bad course of action. It's just that's the premise. That's the inner kernel.
I think Cochran would have killed fucking Joey Coyle for $100 and a pack of smokes.
I think he might have done it for even less. Yeah.
Shit.
Especially when he says to the guy after he confronts him, he goes, $50K, that's a row house for you and me. Like that is somehow the pinnacle of success of South Philly. Yes. I could have my own row house.
Ooh,
so good. How wonderful.
Mickey, what'd you think at the end of the movie?
I thought it was weak. I thought
it was.
First off, I couldn't stand Monica at all. She clearly they made it very clear, at least to me, that she was only with him because he had $1.2 million, because they were done, over with. The next thing you know, he's got money. She's rolling in it naked, eating it while she's having sex with him. Like,
yuck.
Yeah,
gross.
Money's very dirty. Get that out of your mouth.
So I thought, when she takes all the money and flings it up in the air, I felt like that was a very kind of, I don't want to say Disney ending, but it's like, oh my God, look, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, it's the wrong ending for this movie. This ending should have been way darker.
Agree. And I just thought it was super weak. And then it was just kind of like, okay. And they didn't like separate them. They got to go in the car together. She's still throwing money. You know what I mean? They're still getting rid of money. And then they just drive off. And then that's the end. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know.
Mickey, this ending is like to a different movie. This is the ending you get in that Grosse Pointe Blank movie or in that 8 heads in a duffel bag movie. It didn't work.
It's like the director said, look, we're out of money. Let's hurry up and finish because we got one day to film it.
Yeah. And Mickey, you said it perfectly. She's only with him for the money. So when that opportunity arose, when he put that $600,000 in her desk and she knows there's a $50,000 reward, she is fucking selling this guy out in 1 second for $50,000. Yeah. Bye-bye, Joey Coyle. You're a loser.
I just, I don't know. I think I'll get into it. I wasn't happy with the ending.
No, the end hurt. The end hurt this movie for me. The end took almost a whole point off the movie for me because it happened and I went, oh, I remember that being a lot better. Okay, so we have broken down this amazing masterpiece of a movie. Let's do some alternate endings and then we'll recast it and we'll score it and we'll see where this thing where it lands.
As if we'd end the movie like that. Yeah.
Let's do the Scooby-Doo ending.
Good call.
So I have got an amazing alternate ending.
Delynn looked like she was wincing through that. Are you okay?
Oh, God.
Okay, so Joey takes the laundered change that he gets from Vincent, and he goes to Atlantic City. He plays a slot machine and hits a $1 million jackpot. But Detective Lorenzi catches up with him and demands the entire jackpot to bury the investigation. Joey has no choice but to give him the money. Lorenzi retires to Atlantic City, where he gambles the money away, and Joey returns to the docks, broke, begging his brother for work.
Okay.
That's terrible.
You sound like the crypt keeper there.
I thought that was great.
It's like Atlas trying to hold the world weight on his shoulders. Jesus, you're brutal.
That was fucking great. That was a fucking great ending. Delynn, let's hear your fucking amazing ending.
My ending's not amazing. Because this fucking movie was not amazing. Hey, do not discredit my endings.
Okay,
Listen,
endings.
My endings. Don't discredit me. Okay. So remember the scene where he puts the money in the closet and he puts the key in his pocket and it falls out of his pajama pants or whatever and almost falls down the grate.
Mm-hmm.
I changed the movie right here. The key falls and goes down the grate. and he can't get to the money in the closet. So he now spends the next month trying to get into the meeting.
What?
Okay, hold on.
Dude, I can get into that closet with a credit card.
Not only that, if you just take the hinges off the door, you're going to get in the other side.
Screwdriver. Oh my God, this ending sucks. All right, wrap it up, kid.
Wow.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Wow.
Go ahead. Takes the next month trying to open the
I was
closet
just
door.
Say he's going to try to, I mean, that's any stupider than him opening up the fucking toilet and shoving it under the toilet. The stupidity of it all.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah. Please with that.
No, that's where they hid the fucking diary in 8mm. So people do that.
Yeah. Stupid.
Yeah. It caused a flood. That was how smart he was.
Yeah. And by the time he has gotten the money out of the closet, the reward is now up to $200,000, and he gives the $1 million back and keeps $200,000 and does not fucking end up dead in a closet somewhere.
Okay, that was 100% your worst ending to date. Mikki, what's your ending? My ending was great. I can't believe you guys didn't
Your
like
ending
it.
sucked a bag
My
of
ending
dog
was
dicks.
fucking great. Takes the change and hits a jackpot. Lorenzi, back on the docks, full circle.
Nah.
Mikki,
Come, okay, John Bon Jovi. Joey used to work on the docks.
My ending is that he takes some of the money, shoves it in his nylons. She's holding the bag with the rest. They go to board the plane. Lorenzi shows up, and Joey throws her under the bus, gets on the plane, and she's left holding the bag and gets arrested with the rest of the money.
Okay, so that was worse than DeLynne's. Tony,
I know.
What do you have for a vote?
I think Mikki just made that up while she was
I saw
standing
her
in front
make
of the
it
computer.
up.
Yeah, I can see the little wheel
up.
turning in her head.
I watched her make that up.
I did.
Okay, Tony, what do you think?
It's a little hard to deviate if we kind of go, because this movie is somewhat based on a true story. But if we're going with the way the fuck off the whole reservation,
we are.
I'm going to say that Joey throws the cash in the desk and that Monica says, F this guy. Des kind of stole my ending, but she goes her own way, blows him off at the bar, never shows up. Now, Joey, of course, is burned on both ends because he gets no money out of the mob. He gets no money out of Monica. He doesn't even have the gun anymore to go blow his own brains out. So he just kind of gets in a broken-hearted haze of booze and stupidity and weirdness. And he just kind of has this false promises he dies, right? He dies of a broken heart. I don't know. And it's kind of like how bad this movie was, and it's poorly written, kind of like this ending. So it just fits perfectly because, Joey's just kind of a zero. So
I love it. Okay, so we've done it. Let's quickly recast it. I'm gonna go obvious on this one. I am going to take out what's her name? I'm going to take out Debbie Mazur, and I'm going to replace her with fucking Marissa Tomei because they're the same person. Mikki, what are you doing?
First off, I want to know if John Cusack fired his agent after this. And then,
when you're a young actor, you take whatever work they give you, especially if you're the lead role in a bad movie. You get paid.
I also would recast Monica and replace Debbie Mazur with Isla Fisher.
Who's that?
Okay.
Redhead. Where do I know her from?
Redhead, Wedding Crashers.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, that works. Lynn, what are you doing?
I am recasting, what was Philip Seymour Hoffman? Was he Cochran?
Cochran.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to recast Cochran. It's not Cochran. Jesus God, you're an infant. I'm going to recast him with Val Kilmer.
Wow, okay. I like it.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Better than your ending.
Des wasn't a drummer, but he's trying to play one tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God.
And Tony, recast it so we can put this bitch to bed.
I am going to recast Michael Rappaport as Kenny Kozlowski, not to his own discredit, because I think he did a fine job, but I needed somebody with a little bit more bite. I was thinking we'd go off the path. I picked Michael Fassbender because of his European kind of timidity and some other things. And then I couldn't deal with Cusack. Not that I don't like him, but I said, somebody in this role needs to be more realistic. And I thought of Mickey Rourke in his prime and like Barfly, 1987, 88 Mickey Rourke. You know, he's got the cigarette hanging out of his mouth. He's a fucking hard drinking, just dirty, grimy, grungy motherfucker. And that's what
I'm surprised Des didn't choose Matt Dillon.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sean Penn or Matt Dillon.
Either one could play the part. I really like your pick, Tony. I think that. All right. How about this though? How about we put your pick as the detective, right?
So Mickey Rourke.
We're putting Mickey Rourke in as the detective, the hard drinking detective,
I'll go with that.
Then we're gonna put in Matt Dillon as Joey Coyle.
Oh wait, and then as the brother. Yep. Frank Stallone.
Frank Stallone.
I like it.
The fucked up part is while I was looking for characters in this film, I thought of Barfly immediately. And guess who the bartender in Barfly is?
Is it Frank
Stallone?
Awesome. That's fucking great.
I'm like, life is a circle. It's obvious. And it all comes back to Frank Stallone.
Yes. And I did not have my Frank Stallone coffee mug tonight that Mickey so nicely had made for me and shipped to the house, but you will all know that I have a prized Frank Stallone.
We'll expect to see it on the next podcast.
I will absolutely have it at the next podcast. I'm actually doing iced coffee tonight instead of hot coffee, which is another reason I went with this one.
That's why you're all fired up. He's got a big thermos of iced coffee there.
It's empty. Wild. I drank it, so that's why I've been fired up. Okay, let's just give our rewatch scores and we will move on with our lives. So
Let's have all the listeners.
Thank you, Jesus.
I think this is basically an undiscovered mob detective movie. It's a fun ride. It's got dark notes. It has great characters, amazing actors, but the ending is a huge fucking hole. So for me, I started 4.1, but then I have to take 3/4 of a point off. So I'm going to go 3.26. 3.26. They put a better ending on this, though, and it's in the 4s for me. 3.26. Mickey, what do you got?
Again, great cast. Filmed well. Was not a fan overall of the movie. And I'm going to give it a 2.
It's funny. I really thought that you guys would like this movie, which is why I chose it. I really thought both of you were going to really like it, especially you, Mickey. So I'm surprised. A 2. You said 2. Oh, shit. Below average. Okay, Tony, what do you got?
Yeah, I kind of tore it up as well. I thought that they could have done so much more, especially with a great cast. I mean, he gets props for that. You're going with the concept that he didn't know who he had. I'm going to say that I'll be optimistic and say he took the best young talent he could find at Hollywood. He just didn't give him enough breadth and depth. And the fucked up part is one of the writers on this script was a guy named Mark Bowden, who wrote the Black Hawk Down book, which is one of my favorite films because it's so literally, kind of inch by inch, hour by hour graphic and true to form. And they could have done so much more because they had a base story here that happened in real life. And instead of doing a portrayal, they just kind of went willy-nilly here and there and, could have made it more. So I was a little let down by that. I'll put it to you this way. I was toying with a 2 or a 2.5. Sorry. I was toying with a 2 or a 2.5. And I'm going to go split the difference, give it a 2.25. The ending broke me because it was like the cherry on top of a shit sundae. But that's
Tony, I agree with you, though. The script was pretty weak. I wish they had known exactly what they wanted to do with this movie. I think they
kind of lost their way. Sadly, they had great aspects of it, but it just didn't get over the hump.
Yeah, it devolves as it goes on. By the end, just really lost its way, Mickey. Yeah. So we got a 2 from Mickey. We got a 2.25 from Tony. So Dylan, you're the linchpin on this puppy.
So you're not going to like my score very much.
I
agree with everybody's sentiments that there was some serious talent here. I mean, some of these names, it was like the who's who of was up and coming in 93. I think the mistake was trying to make this like a dark comedy, because it's not. It's not a dark comedy. And you put John Cusack in there, who has the dark comedy chops. You know, he does Gross Point Blank. He does the one, the record store one. And
High Fidelity.
Thank you.
Yes.
And he carries those so perfectly. And, you know, or if you take him and put him in something like a drama like 1408, he's fantastic. But you make these people walk this line between the drama and the comedy, and it just fell apart for me. I'm going to give it a 1.899.
Holy shit, mon frere.
That's went a tough to score. 3 digits. 1.899.
I honestly can't disagree with anything you said, though. You're so right. It should have been a darker movie, but I gave it a nostalgic score. Okay, so Glenn, add those up and tell us where this thing lands.
Okay, so the numbers come out to 2.35225. So let me see where that falls. Pretty low.
Oh, shit.
2.35. All right. It is number 78.
Ooh, that's tough. And
what kind of company is it in?
Yes.
It's right above the Hitcher.
Okay.
But it's right underneath Multipass, The Fifth Element.
Dallas.
Oh shit. Oh man.
I thought for sure you were going to say Neighbors.
Neighbors is above it at 74.
Oh wow,
that's a tragedy in itself.
Yeah,
right there.
Well.
That's a crime story in itself. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Awesome. We will discuss some thoughts, and we will pick another movie and break it down. Okay, so we will be back next week. We're going to start doing some scarier movies since we're coming into the Halloween season, which is Dylan's favorite season. So we usually start in October, but Dylan just couldn't wait. So we're going to get started a little early.
I mean, we technically started 2 weeks ago with Tony.
Well, Tony always does horror movies. It's always Halloween with Tony.
It was Trick or Treat.
It was. We should have waited a week on that. So we will be reviewing The Burbs, the Tom Hanks movie, and we will be doing that with Pat and his fully packed bong. We will also be back next week on Violent Vinyl Radio, our sister show, where we will be breaking down Look What the Cat Dragged In by Boys. Yes, nice. So there you go. So until next time, I just have one question for you. Would you give the money back if you found it? See you next time.